We are anonymous. No faces, no flags, no permission slips. And tonight I'm here because all hell breaks loose as Trump's ICE invades consulate. And no, that's not clickbait. That's the sound of a country sliding into something ugly in real time. Here's what went down. Donald Trump's ICE, the same agency he's supercharged and weaponized, attempted to force its way into the Ecuadorian Consulate in Minneapolis. Let that land. A consulate, not a random building, not a traffic stop, a protected diplomatic facility. Ecuador's foreign ministry says this happened around 11 a.m., and that consulate staff blocked the ICE agent from entering while they activated emergency protocols to protect Ecuadorian nationals who were inside at that moment. International law isn't a suggestion. No matter how much Trump treats it like a napkin, he can crumple up and toss. Under the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations 1963, authorities in the receiving state cannot enter the parts of consular premises used for consular work without consent from the head of the consular post or a designee, with only narrow emergency exceptions like a fire. So when Trump's ICE tried to barge in, it wasn't just aggressive enforcement. It was a diplomatic breach, the kind of move that can put U.S. diplomats and consular staff at risk abroad when other countries decide, oh, so that's the new rule now. And yes, Ecuador filed a formal diplomatic protest. Their government demanded that acts like this not be repeated at any Ecuadorian consular office in the United States. This isn't Twitter drama. This is a real international incident. And it's happening because Trump keeps rewarding the most reckless, most militarized behavior, then acting shocked when the world calls it what it is. Now listen carefully, because the context matters. This didn't happen in a vacuum. Minneapolis has been under an intense immigration enforcement surge, and it's already spiraled into outrage and chaos, including fatal shootings connected to federal agents during this operation. That's the environment Trump created, where masked agents feel emboldened, where oversight collapses, where everyone else is told to shut up and move aside. In the video from the consulate incident, you can hear the tension crackling. The staff and people inside are trying to hold the line while an agent pushes boundaries, like the rules don't apply to him. You hear it? Relax, okay, relax. I cannot answer. If you touch me, I will. If you touch me, I will. Then okay. You can, yes, relax, okay. That's what intimidation sounds like when it's dressed up as law enforcement. And why were Ecuadorians inside the consulate in the first place? Because the streets outside have turned into hunting grounds. People afraid of being grabbed, snatched up, funneled into detention. Critics have been using words like concentration camp to describe the conditions and the mass caging vibe of what ICE has built. And if you think that's too strong, then look at what keeps getting documented. Because while this consulate drama was exploding, more crimes against humanity were being documented. And I'm saying crimes against humanity because when you pack human beings into overcrowded cages without basic sanitation and medical access, you are not processing. You are degrading. You are brutalizing. There's leaked footage from inside an ICE facility in Baltimore. Maryland reports identify it as an ICE site in downtown Baltimore, and the video shows dozens of people crammed into a holding area with no beds. Advocates and lawyers say people have been held far beyond what short-term holding rooms are designed for, and lawmakers have raised alarms about conditions and access. People in the video are pleading desperately for help. It's not order. It's not security. It's bureaucratized cruelty. And then there's Dilley, Texas, the South. Texas Family Residential Center, where attorneys trying to meet clients have reported being blocked, and where members of Congress have said they were denied entry. You can hear it in the accounts, the screams, the crying for help, the sense that the people inside are sealed away from oversight. In clips that have circulated, you hear women and children chanting, "Let us out," and it hits like a gut punch because it feels like a black and white history reel we promised ourselves we'd never recreate. And while all this is happening, the Trump machine keeps shuffling the same cast of enforcers like it's a reality show. Border Patrol leadership in Minnesota has been publicly under fire, and reports describe Gregory Bovino being pulled from Minneapolis operations as Tom Homan Trump's hardline border czar was deployed to oversee enforcement in Minnesota. The names change. The tactics don't. Now I'm going to talk about what it looks like on the ground, because this is where the mask slips completely. Footage from journalists at Status Quo shows something that looks like a war zone, like the streets have been turned into Fallujah, except it's Minneapolis, and the targets are reporters and protesters. In their January 25th, 2026 coverage, a Border Patrol agent is seen violently shoving their reporter, Tina Desiree Berg, to the ground, and then agents deploy gas. She's choking, struggling, and you hear her, "I can't breathe." You hear the commands barking like they own the sidewalk. Get back, get back, get back! Then the scrambled people trying to pull each other up, trying to get out of the cloud, trying not to panic. Get up, get up, get up. I'm down, I'm down. Just go, just go. Go, go, go. Get out of there. Where? Go this way. This way. Okay, go, go. I can't breathe. We have to get out of here. We're almost safe. We're almost safe. And here's the part that should terrify every person who thinks, well, I'm not an immigrant, so this doesn't concern me. When armed federal agents start treating journalists like enemy combatants, the next target is always the public. Always. Outside a hotel where IC and Border Patrol were reportedly staying, protesters gathered loud. Yes, but the response from some agents was pure contempt. Video shows agents at windows, giving the middle finger to protesters, and there are reports of indecent exposure that had to be censored in rebroadcasts. It's the kind of behavior you expect from a gang that knows it's protected, not from public servants accountable to law. And then there's the clip that makes my blood run cold, because it's not even subtle. An ICE agent tells a legal observer, listen to this, that if he raises his voice, ICE will erase your voice. The exchange goes, I will tell you this, brother, what you raise your voice. If I raise my voice, you'll erase. Exactly, yeah. Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice. That's not enforcement. That's a threat. That's authoritarian swagger spoken out loud. Now, because Trump's crackdown is getting so blatantly lawless, you're seeing resistance take more organized forms, too. A national coalition of locally elected prosecutors has announced a project explicitly aimed at pushing back against federal overreach, coordinating responses to warrantless entries, unlawful detentions, coercive tactics, and planning accountability strategies. They're talking about records logs, statutes of limitation, the unglamorous paperwork of justice. And honestly, good. Because when the boot comes down, documentation is how you pry it back off. And even after all that, they're still trying to intimidate the press like it's a crime to document. You guys called 911 when these people started destroying this hotel. We're press, we just document. You don't have phones at you. We just document. Documenting this is why we document. That's all we do. And then the smug dismissal. So walk around the block and go. That's what this regime looks like up close. Force first questions, never, and journalists treated like enemies for showing you the truth. And then through all of this, one moment hits like a flare in the dark, because it's not a politician, not a pundit, not a think tank. It's a protester in Minneapolis dressed as a walrus, saying something painfully human. I was just a nerdy gamer guy. I wasn't political at all, but what transpired here in Minneapolis has made me political. I want to go back and be a nerdy gamer again, but until we get the ICE out of Minnesota and hopefully abolished, I'm going to continue fighting. Empathy needs to win. We need to do something altogether. And when he's asked about a bill to defund ICE, he says it needs to happen faster. Government is too slow. Trump ignores court orders. He doesn't care about rules, and leaders need to stop chasing moderate voters and start showing action and passion. That's the point, isn't it? Trump doesn't just target immigrants. He targets law. He targets limits. He targets the idea that power must answer to anything. Courts, treaties, oversight, basic decency. And when ICE tries to invade a consulate, when a foreign government has to file a diplomatic protest because U.S. agents can't follow the Vienna Convention, when people are caged in overcrowded holding rooms and families are sealed behind walls from attorneys, and lawmakers when reporters are gassed for filming, this isn't making America safe. This is making America unrecognizable. So here's what you do next. Don't scroll past this like it's entertainment. Share the footage. Save the clips. Back up the evidence. Support local journalists who are actually on the ground. We are anonymous. We are the signal in your feed, the archive they can't delete, and the witness they can't intimidate. If you stay silent, they keep marching, so speak up. Share this and show up before the next door they kick in is yours. Expect us